Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And today, it's another day.
And it's Tuesday again. It's not Monday.
It's not Monday. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday again. Yeah, second Tuesday in a row, I guess. Because last week was the same thing. Well, I will start by giving a round of applause to one guy.
Okay.
This is for Luis Suarez, officially retiring international football. Yeah, man, this guy caused Ghana not to go far.
I think that you mentioned that because like that conversation doesn't come up often, but when it does, you always make sure to interject.
Yeah.
By the way, this actually really drives me nuts.
Because without him, we will have at least one African team in the final of World Cup since the World Cup have ever been created. Yeah. Because they were going to win them. And this guy freaking catch the ball like a goalkeeper, and he beat a player.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
that's one of those moments in football history that, because the sport's growing consistently in the U.S., but it's around that time it was nowhere near as big as it is now here.
Definitely.
But that was something that that everybody saw, everybody heard of. Oh yeah. Like when someone goes out of their way to do crazy stuff like that in the sport, because as soon as one of those things makes it to the ESPN highlight reel for the week, because we all watched that, and there were so many segments on SportsCenter that would be kind of like around the sporting world.
Yeah.
So even if you were there for like American football or baseball, like if something crazy like that happened, you would show it. So like,
I wonder if y'all heard about his, because he used to beat a lot of people. Like he would bite people off.
Yeah. No, like whenever there was like the Zidane headbutt was everywhere as well. Big things like that, but yeah, just catching the ball like a keeper, or the obvious fouls, the crazy brawls and stuff. Because like there were tons of brawls in South America and stuff like that during football games. And like whenever a big one like that happened, they'd show it on SportsCenter and be like, "Oh my God, this is nuts!" Next time that you're at the Oakland Raiders stadium, think about this instead, because it's nothing compared. Like it's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this officially. From international football. I don't know where he's in Miami actually.
Yeah. And he'll probably play until he's 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's one of like someone's going to want him on their club, like in their side. Someone's going to want him. And it's not a bad thing either. I think, it's people like players get dragged for like lingering longer than they're supposed to and whatnot. But it's a job, man. Like if a club wants you and if you want to play and you don't mind obviously taking a step down in the league rankings, and like I used to play at Liverpool, now I play at Galatasaray. Like as long as you're cool with that, and some guys aren't. Toni Kroos was like, I'm good going out with Real Madrid. I don't think that it would have been like a shame to play somewhere else. But it's like he was like, you know what, like I've given all that I can get. Like once you get to that point, I don't think it matters where you are in your career.
Yeah, I don't think effectively. It's like Modric got it.
Yeah,
I think this year it's a good time to go. Guess what? 38, 39 this year. I mean 40. Shoot.
Yeah, but then my point would also stand with like if Ronaldinho or Thierry Henry, if they just said, I'm interested and get like someone's going to offer them a contract, and if they wanted to play that bad, they could take it. Like if you are playing, because it wasn't there like a Japanese guy in his like early to mid 50s playing at some stage, just like because he likes playing. Like I love that. And
for Ronaldinho, I feel like he could have, especially given his financial issues, and there's no this, but I was like, he could have just
he had actual incentive to come back, not just loving the game.
Yes, that's it. Sure. He could have gone somewhere and make it back.
Yeah, 100%.
Guess what? We want to see his magic.
And that's why. And then we'll get into this because we're trying to clean up the timelines on these things. I don't mind when players go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I don't like when young players that still have something to prove go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And everyone always goes, "We're just trying to get money, man." It's like, yeah, I mean, he's got money. And like who was it? Someone was trying to shit on the people that were judging. One of the recent players that went to Saudi Arabia.
Bergwijn.
It wasn't Bergwijn. No.
No Bergwijn.
It was maybe like 4 or 5 days before him. It might have been the Osimhen like link. Like he didn't go, but they were like, if you have like financial issues and like why wouldn't you go there? And I had to comment. I was like, if you're one of these players and you have financial issues, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you gotta fire everyone around you.
Yeah, like, you gotta fire yourself, dude. That's your fault.
Because getting that kind of money and immediately having financial issues, what the hell?
Yeah, so it's like these broke people on social media will do anything to defend the Saudi league, and they're not even Saudi people. Like, it's just like, it is a very strange thing. It's like, just accept that it's a lesser league. They're using their money to blindly buy players. Nobody goes over there that's extremely happy. So like the young players that go over there, like your career, like I'm fine though because I don't have to worry about you anymore.
Yeah.
Like if Ivan Toney's did Ivan Toney's deal go through?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't have to worry about him anymore. I don't have to worry about what I.
But okay, let's talk for 2 minutes because now I think I got the format figured out in the sense of our time because now I got a timer. But let's talk about Saudi for brief 2 minutes. My question is, don't you think that it has gone a little bit up in the minds of people in terms of if you had to grade it on the scale of 1 to 10, if it was like a solid 2 at the time, we're looking at it at 4 or 5 because now a lot of players are looking into it. Back in the days, it used to be like the Asian, I think Chinese,
the Chinese league, yeah.
Like MLS. It's weird because I don't want to say the same category because it kind of was like that, like looked at as the Chinese league.
Yeah.
But the difference is that for the Chinese league was more of cash pumping, like what the Saudis said.
The MLS does not have as much money.
It was just, we're just gonna attract players because we want to grow the sport in the US. They're trying to grow the sport. It's not necessarily using a lot of cash. Now I know now that people might say, well, look at Miami, but that's more of a like marketing strategy. There's actually real incentive to grow the sport in America.
Yeah, and no other club is really able to do that because a lot of the deals that it took to get Messi over here were commissioned by the league itself. It's like that never happens. And until someone else the size of Lionel Messi comes to the club, it will never happen again. So it's like that's not quite a great way to say like, well, this is the high end of what that's possible. It's like, no, they bent steel to get him over here. No, I mean like yes, I would say if it was a 2, now it's a 4.
Yeah,
the Saudi league. What I'm saying is
you got Bergwijn, you got Ivan Toney, you got all these players now looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, and what I'm saying is that you don't have to worry about those players like what we do. Our job is to like report this news. Once Ivan Toney's over there, we don't have to report on him anymore because like we don't watch because no one watches the Saudi league really. He's not playing at the top level anymore, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand either. Or they're just not athletes and they don't give a shit about the process. They just I don't know why you like soccer, football if you don't like athletes. Like you don't like athletics.
You want to see some weird competitiveness.
Yeah, so like once you go over there, you kind of can't come back.
Yeah,
you can't. Like the reason that you were in the Premier League is because you either transferred in because they thought that you were at a comparable stage in your development, or you were already in a Premier League side and now you're getting promoted to maybe like a top 6 side. And like Ivan Toney was at that level. If he spends 4 years, 3 years outside of that bubble, being able to get that quality, like no one's gonna take a chance on that. Like you're basically stepping down.
Yeah.
And you can't just come back up. It's not like politics. It's not like writing. It's not like musicianship where you take a break, you do an indie project, and then you come back. It's like, no, this is your body. This is a physical machine that you've got to take care of. And if you're not operating at that high level consistently, even in training, the training is what separates a lot of these guys from being Premier League players and Serie A players. Like, this is just a fact. So, like once you're gone, I'm good. I don't have to worry about you anymore. It's one less person I have to report on.
But don't you think that he had a chance to play? I guess not really because I didn't hear another team trying to get him either in the Serie A or La Liga.
That doesn't mean that you throw it away for one transfer because no one came biting at one transfer window. That doesn't mean that you say I'm going to sign a 3-year deal to a much less quality league and then basically burn any chance that I have of getting over there.
Yeah,
I would rather do what Victor Osimhen almost did, or what we'll talk about later.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, like I won't play till January, but I'll train. Yeah,
the Osimhen saga is interesting because a lot of the internet has been furious at Osimhen himself and his agent saying, a lot of people saying he got to fire his agent because you can't tell me that he couldn't find a team that will buy him, or he couldn't find someone that will at least I guess transfer to. The other thing is some people I think it's a all around thing because Napoli was also invested in the sense that why would you pay someone that high of wages and not play him, knowing well that would decrease his market value? Then, if a team comes, because the deal with one of the Saudi teams was they were trying to get, I think, 100 million or something like that. But at the end of the last minute, Napoli upped the price, so they backed out. And apparently that's not the only thing. Apparently today I was reading while heading here from one of like the football news thing that Liverpool was interested, and they did the same thing to Liverpool. But why would you do as a team not knowing where you don't really want him?
It seems like one of those issues where it seemed this way for several seasons now with Victor Osimhen and Napoli. Both sides are making mistakes at like the opposite times of each other. So someone's always at fault for something going on. What I had seen was that after the deals fell through, Napoli and a lot of the staff and even some of the players themselves, Victor Osimhen had said some things during these disputes that now, even though he's staying,
they don't
really want him there anymore. And I don't blame them for that. You are a business. I understand that, but at a certain point, there are ethics in business, and I'll never fault somebody for turning away money or usage of somebody on their contract on principle. It's similar to, but not exactly. So people don't get like upset about the Arteta Aubameyang thing. A lot of people did not think it was smart to let him go because of the wages that he was on, the contract that they'd had to kick back to him once he was let go, even some of the talent that was left. But ultimately, we kind of learned not a lot was left there anyway. So if you were wanting to hold on to him for that reason, you made the right decision. But like, it was better for morale. If somebody burns those bridges like that, like the players have to train with him. The coaches have to train with him every single day. It's not just that, you said go fuck yourself to someone in the boardroom and that you meet once every quarter of the year. Like, no. Apparently he burned bridges with guys that he'll see daily. And the consensus was just that they didn't want him there anymore. And I support that. And it's not so much that I'm saying, like, I hate Victor Osimhen now for that. What I mean is I understand why you would just, hey, go our separate ways when the window opens again. I mean, trust me, like, the only reason that we'll talk to you from now on is for some sort of deal. Like unless it's transfer news, you're home training by yourself, have a good time, and I'm sure that he'll have a fine time.
Another thing is people are faulting his manager and by saying he had so many times to get Osimhen a deal or talk to Osimhen, because at the end you're the agent, not the manager, sorry, the agent. And you had all these deals. Why could you cut one, knowing last year if you had told someone that Osimhen would be trying to get in the team, it would have been unimaginable, because you had team begging for him, like Barcelona coming with this incentive or money. They wanted to get him, but he couldn't. Another thing is Osimhen trying to match some wages. Apparently some other teams were interested, but they were like, you need to match these wages. If you're intelligent, or if you're Osimhen are playing at that level, when I mean level, it's not necessarily the money, but the level of stardom where you are recognizable. You don't lack teams that want you. If they can't match your wages, why wouldn't you go to a big team? Even if they can match your wages, because guess what, you're gonna go there, prove yourself, work hard, play as you play, and of course someone's gonna increase your wages, or you could go to another team. It's like selling yourself too. It's not
a one and done deal where once you sign that 4-year contract that you have to be locked into that deal. Like, it's like they want to renew your contract, and one of the things that you're allowed to say when you renew your contract is, well, I want these wages now. And if you've proven yourself for 2 years of that 4 and they want to sign you on for another 4 just to keep you kind of under their thumb a little bit, I mean, they'll maneuver the books. If you've proven yourself for those 2 seats, like, they will go out of their way to do those things for you. It's not just that one-off scenario. It's definitely bad business minds on both Osimhen and his agent. Like, it doesn't feel like anybody really knows what they're doing there. And Napoli themselves, they're working in the opposite of how most good businessmen work. You don't tell someone that you're going to sell them a lemonade for $2. And then you get the little girl lemonade, and she goes, "Okay, that'll be $2.50." It's like, what? No, you don't increase the price after. Like, you highball at the beginning and walk it down, so that when they think, when they walk you down from your price, they think that they got you at a deal, when ultimately they settled for what you wanted in the first place. You go high on purpose so that you look like you're bargaining and making a deal when you were never intending for them to pay that fee anyway. But if they do, good for them. Good for you. But no, it's just nobody really understands. It feels like middle school finance class. All across the board here.
I feel like with all what you said at the beginning, saying about what had happened with Osimhen and the Napoli team or whatever, and I think that Napoli is also using that to their intent or a little bit with malice in the sense that, hey, with all this that happened, we're gonna make sure your value tank. Although we're taking a hit, because now he's also requesting they should cut his release close to 75 million, so someone could
grab that pretty easy. Yeah.
Hey.
Well, and it's like they're willing to to cut your nose off to spite your face. Do you know that expression? So you cut your nose off to spite your face. It's like you're blaming your face for cutting your own nose off, and like you're willing to hurt yourself more than the person just to set a point. And it's like, one, that's a very Italian thing. That's a very Shakespearean thing. Yeah. I imagine that as I love the Italians. They're very passionate, but they're fueled a lot by emotion, and a lot of it doesn't make sense at times. And that's what this feels like. It's like Victor's going to get the better end of this deal, no matter what. The player, if they get to a certain level, they're always going to get the better end of something than the club overall. So don't worry about hurting him. Do what's best for you
or for the team.
Or for the team, except on principles like that. Like unless he's just around talking mad shit about the club and the individuals that work with him on a day-to-day basis. If he basically just said, "I don't like how the club's run," still let him go train. But if he's saying if he's saying, "And I would have had that deal if it wasn't for that piece of shit," and this guy, and it's like once you start doing that, it's like, okay, I mean, now we don't have to play. But like if you're trying to tank his value so that you get less money, that doesn't work for me. That's not a good.
That's not intelligent. But at the end of the day, the reason might be, oh well, we're tanking his market value is decreasing, so he, I still don't see how that translates to good business. But I see how that translates to bad business.
We fucking hate this guy. We fucking hate this guy.
Sure guess what? He is on loan at Galatasaray for a year, and I think that he also is requesting something along the line that any club could be potentially or try to buy him if there was the next mercato, which is winter mercato or winter. I don't know how to say it without saying mercado. That's how I know about it. It'd be basically the period where you buy players. Now, looking at all this, I feel like Arsenal could grab one of these. I feel like this is Arsenal's time to shine and come in and just swoop and get in the deal. For Osimhen, because I watched the game. I watched a little bit, but what stand out for me was the fact that Arsenal wasn't as I would say, how can I even put it? Arsenal needed to be much more dangerous in the post. They had too many balls that they could have, finished. Too many opportunities that they did not finish.
Right.
And also that translated to the nil that they had, but they should have won the game. Even, I'm not saying that Arsenal, they had more opportunities, because even Brighton should have won that game.
Yeah, I was just like Brighton played well, and we forget sometimes because some seasons they don't look the exact same. Like they're consistently in the top half of the Premier League table. Like they're consistently one of the best sides outside of the Big Six. They were playing well. Arsenal have yet to kick into that gear at the start of the season, but you know what? No one is. The only one is Liverpool. Liverpool is the only club that's playing at a significantly strong level for just being at the start of the new season. Even Man City are not as convincing. Erling Haaland is sharp. He didn't have to worry about the Euros, so it's good for him. But no, I mean seriously, like he looks very sharp. Like the rest of the side. They don't look bad, but you get what I'm saying. They're not fully turned on, and no one really is. And I don't think Liverpool are either. But what I'm saying is they're the ones that look like they came out of the gate with something to prove.
Liverpool played some great football. I was sorry for United. In fact, 3-0, to say the least. Everybody was surprised that United just got 3-0. That's a better deal. They could have gotten 5-6.
They could,
and Salah is making sure he's actually playing to the full, to his potential.
That third goal at the end, dude. That first touch off the man.
My goodness,
that was good stuff.
I think
Diaz looked great to it. It's
they look.
They look.
Since
he
came
really
back,
good,
he's doing his thing. He's putting those goals in the net now.
And one more, and with one more person, I feel like we never really talked about how smoothly Dominic Szoboszlai just fed it. Like it's been several seasons now, and like we talked about McAllister, we talked about Nunez took a while to get going, Diaz took like Szoboszlai kind of just came in and did a great job.
Yeah,
he wasn't like amazing lights out like transfer of the year, but like he has been playing. He might have had 2 games at the very beginning that you're like, we'll see what happens. But he immediately came in and played very clean, very neat and tidy. I think that he's very underrated.
So is it safe to say Thomas Partey, they need a replacement for him because he is a little bit slow.
Yeah, we said that. We said that two weeks ago.
This past game just showed it because Brighton is very dynamic, and it just kind of exposed that.
Yeah, and they've got good quick passing in the midfield.
Yes.
And like when Thomas Partey has the ball and he's part of the offensive move through the midfield and up into the box, like I said, he has great passing. He has great long passes on the ground. He can thread the ball through in interesting spaces into the box. He just has a tough time transitioning back on the defense, despite his, like we said, athletic prowess. He can still make pretty strong wide lunge tackles. It's just the athleticism to get from point A to point. Once he's locked in a space, he can cover that space well. It's just traversing to that next zone to mark in that he has an issue with for sure.
Well, the big controversy was always, again and again, is the refereeing. Refereeing the game, it's not easy, but it seems very, very hard for some reason.
It seems fucking impossible for some people.
And Declan Rice red card. Now, I understand there's a lot of reasons. They say, well, Declan Rice should have moved because you can obstruct when the game is trying to restart. But the thing is, the ball wasn't also a dead ball. It was rolling, accidentally touched by Velvet or whatever the name is.
Yeah.
And it touched Declan Rice, then it prompted the yellow card. But again, Velvet, that guy ran and freaking, kicked Declan Rice. And he didn't get any card, did he? I don't think he got any card. It was kind of weird.
He didn't get anything.
So...
Because under the pretense of that scenario, they were claiming that some people were claiming that he was trying to kick the ball for the free kick, which is horse shit because you don't kick the ball up at your waist.
Yes.
I think that most people trying to prove points on this were pretty silly.
I think the referee should just have worked and, blow the whistle, I guess when you already have a card, they don't want anymore. But I think that whole action was in red card material just because of the fact that when they claiming that he was trying to restart, the ball wasn't a dead ball.
It was 5 yards away from where it would have been set for the live ball to be kicked back in anyway. So and then what about the João Pedro ball in the first half where the ball ran out and he just boots it away to goal?
That's another thing they said.
That was he probably kicked the ball a good 40 yards farther than Declan Rice did, and the ball could have been easily fielded back in bounds if he hadn't booted it out. So, and I'll say this too. So you obviously seem to agree that was probably not a yellow card. That was probably talking to both of them.
No, yeah.
Talk to them like 5 years.
Because there wasn't any consensus. Like I didn't see a yellow card to its fullest. It wasn't a yellow card material.
Yeah. What you do is you pull those two guys aside. Yeah. Like recess, like two kids are fighting at recess, and you go, listen, you little shits, okay? We've got a job to do here, and you're throwing mud at each other. Please stop. Family photos or after school.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around anymore. You know what I mean?
It created a hole in that whole midfield. It was so difficult now.
And I'll say this as well. One more thing, and I don't want to harbor on it too much because I rarely believe in this mindset. And I don't even really believe in it right now, but this was a dark time for me to be a supporter of a sport that is unpopular in the nation itself. It's shit like this that keeps Americans from building new fans. Like seriously, Americans look at when this stuff happens in this sport and they laugh.
Yeah.
And I champion this sport. I think that you have to be the most well-rounded athlete of any major sport in the world. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to do so many different things. It's so far from one-dimensional, and it's almost impossible to poke holes in supporting this sport and validating the athleticism required. However, when things like this happen, this is when Americans go, God, what a pussy sport. Like in this situation, I believe with you. Like I agree with you.
You agree with them.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's that one time where, you know, if we had to like wear a badge, like I support football, this is the one day that I'm wanting to take it off so that no one makes fun of me. Like I'm gonna get it in the crossfire because you guys are being so ridiculous, and the claim that a lot of people have of like, well, they're following it to the letter of the law. It's like
the letter of the law, but
that's horseshit because João Pedro did that before, and you don't have a free kick with a live ball that the ref hasn't blown dead and placed it at the spot of the foul. He couldn't kick the ball then if he wanted to.
I read that
so
too.
Letter of the law is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think the letter of the law applies. You know, they have to actually figure out if they're going to apply the letter of the law for everything, they have to actually apply it for everything, not just be selective. But
and it's a very English thing to do, by the way. Anyway, yeah, you know, and it's like all the English anyway. I don't necessarily love English fans.
When you on the flip side, when you watch United versus Liverpool, you tell yourself, Casemiro. I mean, you know, the Carragher said you gotta leave football before football leaves you. I think a lot of people thought it was disrespectful. I'm not necessarily thinking that's disrespectful because there's a lot of that saying. I always thought about it, especially in sports or whatever. Sometimes you gotta know when to go. Even the late great country singer said you gotta know when to fall. You know? Well, and I think Casemiro at this point should.
Well, I'll say this really fast. I think that I think it's like a Chelsea situation where he's not playing well because nobody's playing well.
That's another thing.
And also, though, the second goal that he turns the ball over, what is Lisandro Martinez doing? Lisandro Martinez was leaving a lot open at the back. So two wrongs don't make a right. Two mistakes obviously are two more than you want to have, right? But, you know, someone that's being asked to do more in the midfield than they did before. He's a CDM. Like I don't know. Like you're asking him to stretch a little bit more wide, a little more thin than he's used to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When he was one of the best midfielders in the world. But like if he was still at Real Madrid right now, sitting back in that Tchouaméni or Valverde role, he's playing better than he is now.
Yeah.
And it's because the people around him are better, not just better with their talent, but they're being coached better. Their tactics are more sound. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. And another thing to add on your point, I'm saying this, right? Even at Madrid, they expect, Casemiro from Madrid used to do this. But also, you have to get one thing. Casemiro at Madrid wasn't a CDM necessarily. He was more of a CM because he was more attacking on the attacking side because you had Modric, you had Toni Kroos sitting on the back. He will rarely be the one backtracking at most every single time.
Yeah.
And you watch that game, it seems like at some point it was like 3-1-6, everybody's in front. And when the ball passes through the middle, you expect Casemiro to
he's your final guy and you know, before the back line.
Yeah, and you should be, if you want to use him intelligently, you got to use him in a position of him attacking and creating, and not for him to be defending and tracking back.
Yeah.
Especially at his age.
At his age,
it's like you see they didn't do that with Modric. You can expect Modric to be doing that anymore.
Yeah. Well, and then just as important as, you know, look at who he's having to like.
Yeah,
he's working with, and I'm not saying that they're an awful squad. Like, of course he looked amazing fielding the ball in the midfield with Modric and Kroos.
Yeah,
holy cow! Like that trio is amazing. Now you've got Garnacho in front of you, who is not the best defensively, although he has energy and he'll run for days.
Yeah,
he's not necessarily who you want in front of you, saying like, okay, he's gonna shoulder some of the burden.
Yeah.
If they turn the ball over upfield, he's gonna cover until I can regroup and figure out where to be. Not so much. Kobe Mainoo's good. He's young. And he's nowhere near Modric and Kroos were at that level. So, like, you can't say that either. Bruno Fernandes has a good offensive mind, but he's not very good on tracking back for D. So, like, there's nobody in front of him to cover those mistakes. You're asking him to cover more ground than he's used to. Mm-hmm. And then in the back, you got Martinez, who is out all the time.
Yeah.
You got De Ligt and Mazraoui both on the same side learning a new system together. You think having them put side by side because they have chemistry works. But at the end of the day, what you now have is two new guys that might both be fucking up together because they don't know, like they know how each other play, but not how the rest of them play. Maybe you flip them on different sides so that they're kind of all with new people. I don't know, but it's not working.
Yeah.
So you might need to try new things. But Ten Hag doesn't like to try new things, does he?
or things that he tries is just bringing back the old Ajax squad. Just So what's the obsession with this Ajax squad?
He's
like, we just need to bring back the band.
Oh, my fair Bergwijn. If I could only have him, this whole thing would be better.
We just need to bring back the band. But sometimes you need new people. You need to establish a new system. The other thing is that I feel like, do you think that having Ugarte in the middle would be better?
Yeah, I think that, like, I'm looking at the formation right now, and there is a gap between, because Fernandes is always going to rush. He, like, in I didn't get to watch the entire game. In the highlight packages, he's over on the left wing, crossing into the box, and, like, who's in the middle?
Yeah.
Who's in the, like, there's nobody in the middle right now. I think that they need to have a 3-man traditional midfield.
Yeah.
And not the solo striker with the 3-man attacking midfield and the 2 guys in the back. They need a traditional 4-3-3, I think.
Yeah.
To cover space, because someone's getting pulled out of position. And yes, I think Ugarte in the middle with a little bit more pace, a little bit more energy behind him can hold that down better.
It's time to say what's his name? Ten Hag. It's time to say there's no more excuses for him to say, well, we're gonna let him have some time so he can establish his system. This is the third year?
Yeah. They've given him time and a lot of money. People don't want to talk about how much money they've actually given him to transfer. And make dumb transfers as well.
So there's no more those excuses, because I was still hearing those excuses. No, Arteta had 3 years, but the second or the end of the second or the third year, the system was clear and established. The players were there. They were running the ball, playing what he was intended or had set himself to do. But at this point, United is still in a hole. Now, we can blame the administrator. We can blame the management, because now it seems like the management is figuring it out. Now, everything it's time for you to kind of figure that one out.
Well, and so look at this as well. So I think that the month of September, if you look at all of their competitions, not just their their Premier League competitions, this is a good stretch for them to see what they can do. So look at this. So that we have an international break this week, but next weekend on the 14th they have Southampton. You should take 3 points from that. Midweek they have Barnsley in the League Cup. You should move on from that. That next weekend they have Crystal Palace at Palace.
Yeah,
that could be tough, but they need, if you're going to be Manchester United, you got to walk away with 3 points from that.
Yeah.
And then midweek they have a Europa League competition with FC Twente. So you should walk away from that as well. And then to close out September, you have you're hosting Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah,
that's where you might drop some points from. But if you're clean for the this is a good stretch to warm up. This looks like they can find their ground, because then October looks a little bit more challenging. There, you're fully within the Europa League competition at that point, and you face Villa and Porto in Europe. So that's So they don't have necessarily a horrible schedule ahead of them to work all these things out and get on the right pace.
Yeah,
if they can do that.
If they can do that,
this is a good test. If they can't through that, they can't at any point in the season.
Well, let's talk about Madrid before we leave. And I kind of wanted, we'll see. Madrid don't seem like they have it figured out yet. Although they won Real Betis, but it didn't. It seems like only Rodrigo and Valverde knows what they're doing in the team.
Yeah.
The rest they don't even know.
No,
they're just playing. They're just there.
Well, and because and we said it, I think, a week ago as well. They're being given license for freedom. One, because they need to figure out where Mbappe is, but also I think that even if everybody else has their clearly defined roles, they're still going to let him wander a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's the right decision. But if you're going, it feels like everybody moving forward is given complete freedom to do what they want to do. And that's not working. I agree with you. They seem a little bit aimless on the ball.
I wonder if they should at least, I don't know, not necessarily define their roles, but kind of have 50% of you should be doing this at a certain point of, a time when you're playing. Just because I understand that Vinicius and Mbappe could be, at any time be freedom, have all this freedom and just go from left to right or right to left or whatever. But it needs a little bit more structure if you're going to do that, because now you have everybody kind of feeding the ball and trying to play on the left wing, and the right wing is just there.
It's just there. Yeah. Well, and then also you can kind of tell that they're hurting a little bit with Bellingham out. Ceballos is starting in the midfield. That's curious. You'd think that you'd want to start. Well, I'm looking at the
Guler.
Yeah. Well, isn't he a bit more central attacking?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, but they're running a 4-3-3, and they usually don't run a 4-3-3, which is interesting that they picked that this time. But I'm looking at the lineup here. They don't have as much depth as we're used to them. Like if you look at what it is right now, and again they have some injuries. Camavinga and Bellingham are out, which that's not good. But you're like, who comes in for Jude Bellingham right now? And so take Ceballos out, act like he's starting. So like who's on the bench right now? Modric.
Yeah, which is not
Gula, that's not his natural role.
Yeah.
Endrick's a forward. You don't have anybody really that's like a natural CM that's like that's who's exactly slotting in to replace Bellingham right now.
Probably Brahim, but the thing about
he's more of a forward, but yeah.
Too.
Say what?
He's sporadic. It's like some days he can play very good, but some days, man.
Yeah, and I mean, but and he has been on the upswing lately.
Yeah,
he has been more consistently a positive player. But you are right; he's still inconsistent overall. But no, I mean, like the bench is not as deep as it was last season, and as like just like if you imagine it in your mind's eye, like they've got a deep bench, man. Like just like kind of like broadly going over it, but look at the actual names on it, and they're not bad players. I mean, it's still Real Madrid, but at the end of the day. Having someone like Ceballos in that midfield, working for that build-up, especially in an undefined role, I can see where it kind of feels a bit all over the place.
Yeah. I wonder is Tchouaméni injured?
No, he was in the middle of the park.
Okay. No.
Yeah. And he did fine. I think that we're all willing to admit now Valverde is just world class.
No, Valverde
it's amazing.
Valverde at this point, I see him next year in the top. Provided Madrid win, like if they start winning, championship, whatever, I think his name will pop out in the top 4 or 5.
So here's a question: if things keep going this way, and injuries are not fair, but work with me on this a little bit, because he's been playing so well that you start to have this conversation. Because you've said it and I've said it, and I've agreed with you, even though it's not what I would do. Between the Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde trio, if one of them has to go to make room. You've always said it's Valverde, and I've said it seems like it would be, but I would never pick that. At a certain point, I mean, he's doing what we said last week. He is carrying them. That assist to Mbappe for the goal, not the penalty. Beautiful. It was amazing. And I'm sorry, Tchouaméni can't do that. Camavinga can't do that. They need him. I think that Tchouaméni and Camavinga are similar in play style, but they both do certain things differently. But Valverde is a bit more diverse than them.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to keep him.
No, you have to. At this point, but if I was running, let's say we forgot about injuries. If I was running, I would have put Camavinga at Ceballos' place.
Yeah, sure.
And Tchouaméni. Now, that trio will work better for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Though, Valverde at this point, there's a reason why Toni Kroos beat him. Yeah. He's 4C.
Yeah.
So, no, at this point, even when you see them playing, he seems to understand what his role is. And what he has to do.
Like you said, one of two players that really...
Actually,
and they're both on the same side.
Rodrigo. I think him and Rodrigo. The rest are just wandering around.
I agree. That's what you said earlier. And they're both on the right side, and they're both on that same channel working together. And it's like, man, they look good.
Yeah,
they look good. But yeah, everybody else needs to figure it out real quick. And everyone was saying, Mbappe scores a double on the day. It's like, I don't count pins that way. Yeah. I mean, like, pins are goals. I understand. Like, I'm not saying they're not. But if
we need to know, we need to see what we want to see from him.
Yeah.
And also, another thing is that they have to be talking. I don't know. I think Carlo Ancelotti says that because there's Vinicius Junior and Mbappe are not actually clicking too. Because if you see how many times he has the ball and Mbappe is open, he won't send it. And Mbappe has the ball and Vinicius open, he won't send it. So he won't do those threaded passes or whatever to him. So I think they have to work through that synergy together, just so they can understand each other.
I think it's a mix of, not maliciously, but I think it's a mix of, not knowing exactly where each other's going to break, but also wanting the goal for themselves. And I don't think that it'll become this sort of Neymar, Mbappe debate. Like I don't think it'll be that. I don't think Ancelotti would allow that. That's the important thing. Yeah. Everybody wants to talk about PSG. It was like, they were just all so high profile that it was a matter of time. It's like, no, they had no leadership. They had no leadership. This is leadership.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think that there's a little bit of that as well, of just like, of Vinicius not knowing exactly when to pass, because I mean maybe he does want more on the score sheet, and they're not competing for the same position, but they are competing for that top spot in terms of the
because at the end of the
goal
day,
scoring.
At this point, especially at that level, they're competing. They probably looking at who's gonna be the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah,
that's what they're looking at.
Yeah,
you know,
because they are both now in better positions to do it than they were before. And they're helping each other in the campaign, but they're also against each other in the campaign at the same time.
Definitely. So, I really wanted, before we finish this, I really wanted to get your opinion on Sterling to Arsenal. I heard, I read this and someone told me the same thing, that Sterling has performed better under Arteta. Does Arteta know what he's doing by getting Sterling back?
I think he could, and the reason that I would give it grace, as a supporter, once the deal is done, you have to support and you have to hope for the best. I mean, you start looking for but before that, I was apprehensive because winged players are not what we need right now. You know what we need. However, I mean, it is true. He played his best under Arteta when Arteta was with Pep. Mm-hmm. He does know what he has, and he said that. And I mean, Sterling's quality in those seasons, that 17 to 19 era, he was very good. And if you know how to get that out of him again, because he's 29, so it's not about losing the step. He's not at a point where he's losing the step.
I think I wonder if we can say consistency or just the fact that he's not having chances. Sorry about that.
No, it's probably a little bit of both, but I mean, Arteta does know how to get that out of him.
Yeah.
Whether he can still or not is the point. Martinelli is not playing as well as he's expected to and has in the past. So maybe someone on the left wing. It's not that you're desperate for a left wing player because you do have Trossard, but you need good rotation. So I do understand the deal. If he's playing a bit more center forward role, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and this is why I give him a little bit more grace and time. This is the same conversation that we had about Kai Havertz last season.
That's true.
And Kai Havertz is still not a superstar, but he plays better now than he did ever at Chelsea. So, this is one of those that you do wait and see. And it's not one of those deals like Saliba where it's like, oh, rock star deal. We needed that immediately, 110%. This is one that's like, okay, well, we got to trust you and figure and see if you can make it work. And on paper, like I said, working with him in the past, he's seen it. They both know what him at his optimal level looks like.
Yeah.
So if they can bring that back out, I get it.
All right, guys. Like I said, if you don't want to hear or you don't want to see us, go listen to us on Spotify.
Star review.
If you don't want to listen to us, go see us.
Give me that review. Give me that review.
Yes, sir.
Bitch ass.
Go on YouTube, click, comment, subscribe, turn on your bell notification, and we on TikTok and Instagram. And the rest of all platforms.
But we got the Tik Tok.
Yeah, we got that.
Tiki Taka.
Not old yet, but yeah.
Yeah, we got it.
Go over there and subscribe. Yeah, and see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.